Thank you, everyone. I'm about to call this meeting to order. The Board of Aldermen notice the community development of the New Haven Board of Aldermen will meet on Thursday, January 21st at 6 p.m. via conference to hear and act on the following item. Please click this URL to join https://bit.ly 3bi6erf or to join from audio only dial 301-715-8592 and enter webinar ID 9 what 96271223670 and audio only. Passcode 552-834-5955. Please note this meeting will originally scheduled for January 20th, but was postponed due to the following day, January 21st, 2021. Please.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, can we get everyone to please mute your phones?
Yeah,
please.
Got to bring it down some, please. I can't
Can we mute all phones, please? Thank you. Carry on, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Order of the Board of Alders of the City of New Haven approving the disposition of the city-owned parcel in Dixville Plaza known as 200 Dixville Avenue and 26 Charles Street, the public way, the public plaza, and related common space to Concord LLC, subject to a development and a land disposition agreement. These items are on file and available in the office of the city clerk, 200 Orange Street, room 202, New Haven, per Honorable Brian Wingate, Chair. Honorable Michael B. Smart, City Town Clerk. For disability-related accommodations, please call 203-946-7833 or 203-946-8582 prior to the meeting. Public can view the meeting at http://bit.ly3bi6erf for requirement password. Contact public testimony newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. of the meeting. If you wish to present testimony at the meeting, you must register in advance or call 203-946-7934 before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Public comment testimony must also be submitted via email to public testimony newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. of the day of the meeting. Thank you for your patience as we move forward through this process. We got a lot of stuff going on at City Hall tonight. So before we hear about this particular item, I'm going to set some ground rules and reference to things. For the committee will go twice. The ones that's not on the committee, the committee will go first. And then we would do the general public as we normally do it. I will ask the committee, starting from my co-chair, to start it off with telling who's on Zoom for the alders. And also, when you present tonight, please give me your name and address for the committee.
Frank Douglas, Chair, Community Development, Ward 2, New Haven.
Al DeCola, Ward 18.
Order Joe 20.
This is just the committee.
Alder Ellen Kupo, Ward 8.
Okay. So we have some other alders that is here. We have Alder Jerry Antunes. We have Alder Richard Furlow, the majority leader. And I also have Alder Steve Winter is in the room as well. And at this particular time, we have one item tonight, and the presenters of the item, please come forward.
Mr. Chair, please. Sir,
Yes? Go ahead.
are we giving time limit on testimony?
Say it again, sir.
Are we doing a time limit on testimonies?
I don't think we have to, but if you think, sir, Vice Chair, I don't have no problem with doing that. You know, we could start it off with like a 2 minute, 3 minute, and we'll see it, you know.
I think that.
Could you keep that time for 3 minutes for now?
Yes, sir. I think that would be appropriate. I don't know how many.
Yes, we will be doing the
public testimony
we will
have,
be,
so.
yeah, Vice Chair, we will be doing the time check tonight. So we're gonna be doing 3 minutes. We have 30 speakers.
All right.
Okay.
30 speakers, I think. Okay,
Thank you. And just like I said, who's ever presenting in reference to this item, please come forth and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Alders. I'm Arlevia Samuel, the Interim Executive Director for LCI, 95 Anthony Street, New Haven, Connecticut. And I'm introducing the disposition of 200 Dixville Avenue and 26 Charles Street to Concord for the redevelopment of Dixville Plaza. Dixville Plaza is a condominium, and Concord has acquired a majority of the parcels already, which does include the Elks Club. The city's interests have been appraised at $700,000. The agreement for the purchase has come to $750,000, which includes now $100,000 payment to the Q House for programming and development of the Q House. Beginning in 2022, Concord will go into construction with 50,000 square foot new commercial building together with 150 residential units, of which 20% of those units will be at affordable rates. Stetson Library, which is one of the parcels being disposed of, will move into the new Q House once it's completed. The 26 Charles Street houses the New Haven Police Department substation, which will remain on site at a short-term zero rate lease until construction. During the construction, an alternative location will be determined, and they will return to the site after construction of Dixville Plaza. Once it's complete, Concat Place on Dixville will anchor the revitalization of the historic Dixville commercial corridor and provide so many opportunities for the community and the residents of that neighborhood. I'm going to hand off the details of the development to either Eric Clemens, Paul Mcraven, or Yves Joseph. I'm not sure which one is going to present it.
I think I'll go first, Arlevia, and thank you very much.
Oh, Carlton, sorry, Carlton, I didn't see you there.
No problem. Arlevia, if you can have someone just tee up our deck, that would be great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlton Highsmith. I live at 7 East Farm Road in Middlebury, Connecticut. I am chairman of the board of the Connecticut Center for Arts and Technology, known as Concat. Concat is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that was formed in 2010. Our vision at Concat is to create a learning environment that inspires hope, innovation, creativity, and excellence, while providing the path for individuals to revitalize the landscape of New Haven communities. Deeply embedded within that Concat mission statement is economic empowerment, and that begins with a focus on jobs. And that's been our focus for nearly 10 years. Training folks in the community for well-paying jobs that we know exist, primarily in the healthcare field. Creating as many well-paying jobs within the community as we could ourselves through our operations and our businesses that we own. Training folks who want to start and grow their own business. and doing all of this within beautiful spaces that inspires hope and invigorates the soul. Those who have received training from us or who have visited our center at Forest Science Park or our Orchid Cafe or our Petals Market know this to be true. Creating beautiful spaces has become synonymous to who we are at Concat. But we are most proud of the reputation we have developed for how we treat the people we serve. Treating folks with dignity and respect, no matter their station, their circumstance, is one of our core values at Concat. Over the past 10 years, we've trained hundreds in the healthcare field and placed them in well-paying jobs in phlebotomy, medical billing, medical coding. Many come to us unemployed or underemployed, sometimes working 2 or 3 jobs just to get by. Our graduates leave us empowered with newly acquired skills, renewed self-confidence, with a vision of new possibilities for their lives. And when we found ourselves falling short in serving enough Black and brown men of the community because they could not envision themselves as phlebotomists or medical billers or medical coders, we pivoted. We went out and raised $2 million we needed to build a world-class teaching kitchen and open the Concat Culinary Arts Program, designed to prepare more Black and brown men for careers in restaurant and food service, the hospitality industry. Again, hundreds from New Haven community have received their training, their new credentials, better paying jobs, brighter careers, but most importantly, they have secured a better life for themselves and their families. We charge no fee or tuition. Our training is offered free of charge to our adult students. Next slide, please. Concat does not just serve adults. Concat after-school programs and summer arts programs are all designed to capture the imagination of our students. Concat students are exposed to the very latest in digital arts technology. They create, they innovate, they learn how to work in teams, they problem solve, they learn various ways to express themselves, they discover hidden talents, they form new friendships, they grow in confidence. Our summer arts programs have taken our students on historical journeys through Harlem and our Harlem Renaissance, and on to Detroit and the Motown story, through lessons in music, dance, culture, food, and history. What a thrill for me to see our 12-year-olds learn how to scat to many of Cab Calloway's classic tunes. Our Concat Entrepreneurship Academy, offered during the summer, exposes New Haven High School students to business ownership and teaches students how to leverage innovation to start and grow their own businesses. All of Concat youth programs, like Concat adult programs, are designed to be transformative, enabling students to discover new possibilities and reimagined futures. Let me now turn to Concat Place on Dixville, the subject of tonight's meeting. You will hear us say this on several occasions tonight. Concat Place on Dixville is not a housing development project. The reality is that Concat has outgrown its current space at Forest Science Park. Concat Place on Dixville will enable us to more than double our space to accommodate the expansion of our adult training programs and to expand our after-school arts and technology programs to serve and inspire more kids. With Concat Place on Dixville, we wanted to create a transformative space to be the engine to drive sustained economic growth and vitality for this neighborhood. We wanted to revitalize and give new hope to a site that has been neglected for decades. We wanted to provide this community with those services and amenities that all communities are entitled to enjoy. Over the course of the past 3.5 years that we have worked on this project, I've been moved and touched by many things that folks living in the Dixville neighborhood have said to us. Things like, we need more jobs. Why don't our kids have an ice cream parlor to go to? Why don't we have a place to go sit down to have a cup of coffee? And we hear you. Creating jobs and preparing folks for jobs is why Concat exists. That's our mission. And yes, your kids are entitled to have an ice cream parlor to go to. And yes, you are entitled to have a local coffee shop to sit down and have a cup of coffee. And that's what this development before you tonight is all about. putting forth a new, transformative, and reimagined future for what was New Haven's most historic and culturally vibrant streets, Dixville Avenue. Once called New Haven's Black Main Street, Dixville Avenue was lined with restaurants and jazz clubs that hosted some of the greatest names in music. No, this is not a housing development project. It is a much broader and bolder vision of what's possible for this site and for this neighborhood. Please know that I am no stranger to this community. My dad was a longtime member of the Elks Club on Dixville. I was married by Reverend Doc Edmonds at Dixville Church, right across the street from Dixville Plaza. Both my daughters were baptized at Dixville Church. Dixville Church is still my church home today, so I'm no stranger to this community. We are looking to create not just a new home for Concat programs, but a beautiful and culturally vibrant space that this community deserves. No, Concat Place on Dixville is not a housing development project. It is so much more. I now turn it over to my colleague and dear friend, Eric Clemens, to share additional details about Concat Place on Dixville and how Concat Place on Dixville is such an exciting and transformative project. Eric?
Thanks, Carl, and good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Clemens. I reside at 21 Hart Street, New Haven, Connecticut. I serve as CEO and president of the Connecticut Center for Arts and Technology, as well as board chair for Concord. What I want to do is really extend on Mr. Highsmith's remarks by adding also, I want to go back to the 300 to 400 graduates who have gone through the programs that Mr. Highsmith highlighted. We started thinking about where would these people go, given that they now think differently about who they are, about what their community is, about what's possible for them and their families. And we realized that we needed to make another iteration of impact, not only for the community, but for these 400 plus graduates who now see life differently. So we began to think about ways to facilitate their hopes and dreams, because we realized that having a job was part of their dreams. We thought about our graduates, could own businesses at Concat at Dixwell Place, Concat Place at Dixwell. We thought about them living at Concat Place on Dixwell. To that end, again, we set our sights on Dixville Plaza as well. So I'm going to double down on what Carlton said. Given the fact that this historic major artery in New Haven has been allowed to be in disrepair and decline for decades, we saw that as unjust, as unfair, and we wanted to bring beauty and dignity to this historic place in New Haven. So for 2 years, we attended community meetings. We talked with and met with community leaders, spent time at community organizations to thoughtfully respond to the needs of Dixwell community as we heard them. To ensure a level of precise and thoughtful engagement, we then co-published the Newhallville and Dixwell Neighborhood Community Index. We did that with the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, Data Haven, Kim Harris, who is the Newhallville Management Team President, and also the Dixwell Management Team President, Nina Silva. The community communicated the needs that were jobs, jobs, jobs. They also communicated safety, early childcare, healthy food options, arts and entertainment, housing, and the need to beautify this historic region again. I will double down on the fact, as Mr. Highsmith pointed out, that Concat Place on Dixwell is not a housing development, but a development with housing. I will also state that Concat Place on Dixwell is really our aggressive address to the insidious and persistent issue of poverty that has plagued this neighborhood for decades. And it as well as a way to bring the beauty and dignity that Dixville Avenue was known for. That said, I want to bring on my colleague, Paul Mcraven, who will provide you with a visual of how we are addressing the community's stated needs. Paul?
Thank you, Eric.
Hold on, one second.
Yeah.
Before y'all move on. How you doing, Eric?
Well, hey, Mr. President, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. Once again, my condolences to you and the family.
Thank you.
Good to see you back at work. I just wanted to jump in and see if there was any questions, or because we were moving along pretty good from the committee. Not no one else, but just from the committee. At this point, are there any questions or anything like that? Okay, seeing none, let's roll. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Mcraven. I'm president of Concorp, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the nonprofit Concat, and I'm leading the effort to redevelop the plaza. So we have gone through a very rigorous, I'm going to move up to the slides a little bit, process of master planning for the site. We based that master planning on the community needs and what we heard from the Dixville New Hallville residents. We came up with the site. I'll go to the site plan. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, that is how we plan to lay out the site plan for the plaza development. Go to the next, I'm going to the next slide, and you can see the site plan. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's going in the plaza. Our plan is to redevelop the site into a mixed-use development. In our first phase, the development includes a combination of community services such as job training, daycare, and health services. The training center will be the Concat headquarters with a full array of training programs in the fields of allied health, computer-related services, entrepreneurial training, and culinary programs. As Mr. Highsmith described, these programs have been very successful over the years. We will also have a daycare. The daycare will serve over 100 children, including infants. We also plan to bring a neighborhood grocery to the community that will bring healthy, fresh food to the neighborhood that is affordable. We are also very excited about our collaboration with one of the country's leading food hall operators to bring a food hall next to the grocery with great prepared foods and restaurants. There will be opportunities for neighborhood entrepreneurs in the food business to start pop-up restaurants. Of course, we truly plan on the grocery and food hall being a significant job creator for local residents. We also have built in a large banquet hall that can host large events, including receptions, music, and arts events. This too will create additional jobs and potential income for neighborhood residents. The development also includes multifamily housing with 20% allocated for affordable housing. We have planned for a multitude of retail space on the first floor and are trying to attract a bank or credit union, pharmacy, ice cream shop, bakery, coffee shop, clothing, and various other retail. We also have a fitness center planned for the site in the first phase. The first phase also includes about 300 underground spaces, and we did this intentionally to create as much walkable and safe space in the development with a large community plaza to have outdoor events such as farmers markets, fairs, and entertainment. There will also be a phase 2, and I'll probably use my cursor to show you. This is phase 1, where that red line comes through, and what I'm describing is in that section. And maybe just to set the ground straight, the ground level on the left is the ground level, and on the right is the second floor of the development. So that's the first phase demarcation. The second phase will include a performing arts center about 15,000 square feet, which will have approximately 350 seats, and we'll be able to provide theater, music, and all other types of activities there. We also are planning an office building here, which would include about 50,000 square feet and would have entrepreneurial space for companies that are looking to develop. We also are looking to put a series of townhouses that could provide home ownership, thinking about 15 to 20 townhouses here. And then in this space here would be an above ground parking lot with retail on the as part of that as well. But also we're looking to put greenhouses on top of that parking lot where we're actually going to be growing fresh food, herbs, and really training and creating jobs through through the greenhouse operations. If you keep going, if you can see the community benefits that we are anticipating are plentiful. There's home ownership, we think it's going to be sustainable from an environmental standpoint. We mentioned the fitness center, the retail stores, dining options, arts, employment opportunities, entertainment, grocery, childcare, and affordable housing as well with the 20% that we're doing. As part of this, we engaged Advanced Connecticut, which is the, I would say, the leading economic development agency doing analysis that the state has right now, to do an economic impact study for us. And they just sent us the preliminary results. It's not completely finished, so we don't have a published report, but we do have the initial numbers that they anticipate. I'm going to share those with you now. So the initial numbers from Advanced CT are construction jobs throughout the two phases would be 420 jobs. The economic output during just the construction period is $232 million. The post-construction jobs on site would be between 450 and 550 jobs. And the economic output annually going forward after construction would be between $40 and $50 million. So we think that it's a significant impact on the community. We, as you can see, we are totally committed to making sure that that impact hits the neighborhood as well as the city. And so we are committed to work with the city on jobs, on construction jobs, and we are committed to have job fairs and other activities to attract minority contractors so that we really can maximize the impact to both the Dixville, New Hallville, and the Dixville neighborhood, as well as the city of New Haven. And we are looking forward to working with the community leaders as well. With that, I'm going to pass it along to our developer, RJA Development, which is led by Eve Joseph. And we realized as a nonprofit that we needed to partner with an experienced developer that we think could help us make this a reality. And we've hired RJ to do that. And he's going to talk a little bit about the team that we've put together to help do this master plan. So Eve, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Paul. My name is Eve Joseph. I am located at 555 Long Wharf Drive, New Haven, Connecticut. RJ Development is my company, a full service development company owned by myself and my partner, Jason Rudnick. Jason and I have been active in developing throughout the New England region for the better part of the last 25 years. Many of those spent in New Haven. Many of you know me. I was before this committee 2 or 3 months ago on another project we are pursuing. And Mr. Chair, you had some very complimentary comments of us. So it is good to be with you. It is good to see you all again, and happy New Year. In New Haven, alone, my company has been responsible for in excess of $100 million of permitting, and somewhere in the range of $80 to $85 million of actually executed construction. So, we're a known commodity. Again, many of you know us, and you can go and point to many of the projects that we've completed in the city. One of the ones that gets more attention is College and Crown, which we constructed in 2013 and sold in 2017, which was one of the first large-scale multifamily projects that was delivered in New Haven. I think it initiated or catalyzed a lot of the housing activity that we're seeing in the market. But we realized early on that as much experience as we have, and we do have considerable experience in projects of this scale, as well as smaller, we needed to surround ourselves with a team of experts that have extraordinary and overwhelming experience building beautiful, vibrant centers of gravity really throughout the world. And that's exactly what we did. We started master planning and designing this project back in 2019. So we've been working on this project for a considerable amount of time before we stand before you here today. And in 2019, we started by engaging a firm, Stahl & Lee, led by a gentleman, Don Stahl and David Lee, based out of Boston, Connecticut. Don Stahl and David Lee are both principals of color. We thought it was very important to have a diverse team of design professionals to complement the diversity of our leadership in this initiative. And Don and David are both award-winning, world-renowned, extremely celebrated, Harvard-trained architects. They were with us from the inception and helped us with a lot of the visioning, imagination, and conceptualization of this development. But we thought it was important to bring people at the highest level of the field to help us imagine outside of the box and bring something to New Haven that it has never seen before. Even our experience, even our vision is somewhat limited by virtue of what we see every day. And we thought it was important to bring that perspective, that international perspective, to help us deliver a truly boundless, a truly high quality project that is not constrained, simply by us. And so Stahl & Lee was the lead designer in the beginning of the project and worked with us for about a year to conceive of the initial, space planning, programming, and ideation of Concat Place at Dixville. Subsequently, we engaged an additional designer of extreme renown who we thought could help us incorporate some cutting edge aspects to kind of fine tuning, really refining the design that Stahl & Lee put in place and bringing it to really a conclusion, putting a finer point on some rough concept that we had developed in prior years. HGA, again, is an international firm specializing in very high quality Class A institutional design, again, around the world. Museums, institutional centers, government facilities, large scale office buildings, employment centers, et cetera, is their point of emphasis. And they're specifically experts in master planning. And so we brought in HGA, and the lead principal, again, a diverse principal, Peter Cook, a man of color, has been leading the effort to help us take the wonderful work that we did with Stahl & Lee and take it up a notch, if you will. I should mention that Peter Cook was one of the lead designers responsible for contributing to the design of the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. And so, for those of you who are not aware, it is a landmark building that is near the National Mall. The design is award-winning. It's won international awards, and Peter Cook was one of the lead designers. And I think the point is that we wanted to bring the very best and brightest to Concat Place at Dixwell. We wanted to cut no corners. We wanted to spare no expense because we think that this community, this neighborhood, and this project deserves the very best. And we think that our team is an example of that. Paul, I'll pass it back to you.
Yes, thank you, Eve. And I wanted to conclude by telling you a little bit about our team. This is our Concat Concorp team that's been engaged on this project. You met Eric and Carl tonight, and myself. Anna Blanding, who's actually on the call, is our Chief Investment Officer, and she's been helping us with the fundraise, which is quite a bit of dollars we need to raise for this project. Genevieve Walker is the Chief Operating Officer of Concat, and basically really leads all the programming side and operations for Concat, and has been very active in the planning of the Concat Center back on the site. And you've met Eve as well. One person that's not on here is Gideon Gabriesis, who is leading our food service operations. So I definitely want to mention that he's included in that team. So this is the team that's been working together to make this happen. We've gotten support as well from our attorney, who I know who's on the call, Danielle Berkery, who's provided us excellent legal services as we've been going through the process of acquiring properties and doing the plan. So with that, I just want to say that we truly believe this project is an example of inclusive revitalization, which is people-centered, that takes into account the residents' legacy and the history and culture of the Dixwell community. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How are you doing, Paul? Thank you so much.
Yeah, good, Alderman. Chairman Wingate. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Yeah, I know. We know we sitting side by side, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're doing the Zoom thing, so we're gonna remove that, and then we're gonna take some questions from the committee. And I gotta take it by the show of hands because of the Zoom process. So I'm asking the committee, and that rule applies to you too. You only have 3 minutes on tonight, considering how this thing is put together. So anybody from the committee that have questions for this great group of people that had a full and robust presentation tonight, raise your hands from the committee.
That would be Alderman.
Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to all of the people that's part of this here great site plan of planning. It's a great plan. I would love to see that happen in Dixville community. Being a New Havener myself, living over there, and my children being born over in New Orville, I would just love to see something this great come to our city in New Hillville. But I just want to ask about the hiring agreement should provide additional detail on how hiring outreach will work in Dixville, New Hillville area, and what support the city and developers can provide in terms of trainings, certifications, and testing for both laborers and contractors. In addition, the agreement should address developers' commitment to neighborhood hiring for ongoing employment in a new commercial space such as the grocery store. Can you say more about that, please? Thank you.
I'll take Alderman Eric Clemens here again, CEO of Concat. Good to see you. I'll take a shot at the jobs piece. And what we intend to do is hold 4 job fairs, 2 job fairs in each phase of the work. And in those job fairs, we'll identify those jobs that will be available, and then collect names and then kind of fit folks in those jobs as we see fit. So we just talked to the city about that idea, actually this morning, including the mayor. And we stand ready to do that, to hold job fairs for jobs at at Concat on Dixwell.
Sure.
Now, in terms of the construction jobs, that is for the city to answer, I believe.
Yes.
Why don't I take it, if that's okay, Mr. Chair? Michael Piscatelli, 353 Summit Street in New Haven. I'm the Economic Development Administrator for the city. Thank you for taking the time on such a meaningful project here. Let me first answer the second part of Alder Marx's question and then just a couple of other comments. We've talked extensively with Concat about this. One of the reasons why this is the right team at the right time is they've brought together strong workforce components to the broader of the effort. So you heard a little bit about that, just like the way Concat does its training, that deep dive, immersive approach is so right for this project. But we own some of the responsibility for this too, right? This is both an asset sale and a development agreement, and it's a partnership over a long period of time. So we will type this up and add it as what we would hope would be a friendly amendment to the development agreement. Should you vote it out tonight, we get it to second reading, the sort of the usual process. But the city will commit to 3 training cohorts specific to this project. Obviously, we do our stuff citywide, consistent with 12 and a half, 12 and a quarter, but we're going to focus all of our outreach in the surrounding neighborhood. We'll do 2 for construction, so jobs on the site to work on the job. And then we'll do 1 for the contractors to make sure that contractors that are coming out of Greater New Haven or Contractors Alliance or some of our own programs are fully ready to work and be prepared for the type of construction that'll be on this job, which is really great about this. It's both the construction of the residential, but also more traditional retail, commercial office space, which we quite frankly don't do enough of. So it's a great opportunity for us to ready contractors in different market segments.
Thank you.
Okay, I have another question. Thank you so much for all that information. When this begins, I'm sorry.
If you go again, this you won't be able to ask another question.
It's okay. I'll finish now.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to ask when this all begins, will you be negotiating with New Haven Works? That's my question. Thank you. Final question.
I know, Eric, you want to take that one about?
Yeah, I mean, we'll negotiate with New Haven Works and in other organizations that have a stable of folks who need employment. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You all set all the marks? Okay. Anybody
yes,
else?
I am.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else from the committee have a question? Alder Cupo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you everyone on the call for presenting this Concat Place on Dixville project. I will admit Alder Marks took my first question about the potential for a partnership or program already in the works with New Haven Works in terms of job placement. So I'll move to my second question, but I guess my first question was just, I noticed in the plans and graphics, there are 2 separate I guess this question is in regard to housing. So there are 2 separate zones, if you will, of housing. There are townhouses. There's also the residential tower. I wondered across this spread, is the 20% affordable units, are they spread throughout both the townhouses and the residential tower? Can you give me a sense of what that may look like?
Yeah, I'll answer that. The 20% affordable is in the tower. It's in the multifamily. So there's 150 units. So 30 of those units will be set aside to be affordable. And then on top of that, the townhouses will be affordable as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you all. Thank you, Paul.
Yep.
Thank you. Are there any more questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'm going to have the alders that's visiting at this time ask questions if you have any. by a show of raise of hands. I see Alder Steve Winter.
Thank you, Chair Wingate. To follow up on Alder Cupo's question, I understand that some level of the townhouses will be affordable, but it is not currently stipulated in the agreement. I think it would be helpful to add that to the agreement before the second reading. Is that something that the development team can accommodate?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think we can. We haven't, that's part of the phase 2, which is not part of the original. So that is a little bit future development. So we're trying to figure out exactly how many units are going to go on that site based on the parking. But we think it's somewhere between 15 and 20. But certainly that's our intention, to make them affordable home ownership units. So yes, I think that the answer to that question is yes.
Thank you. Regarding the parking, there's between 315 and 350 underground spaces, and then the northern half of the development has 240 surface spaces. Would you all be able to provide us with the analysis that arrived at that number of, about 550 to 600 parking spaces? Seems like a lot of parking spaces. Thank you.
Yeah, we hired I'm gonna have Eve Joseph respond to that, but we did hire a parking expert. We have a study. So Eve, can you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we hired a company, Desmond Parking. I believe they are out of Massachusetts, a national parking operator as well as consultant. And they do these analyses for all types of organizations around the country, including airports, including bus stations, all things, situations much larger and all encompassing than kind of our development. Desmond did complete what is called a shared use parking analysis. And what the shared use parking analysis does is it efforts to identify the optimal number of parking spaces that a development needs, taking into account simple things such as, if you are building a mixed use project like we are, that has office and residential, right? Office would use a parking space during the day, and residential would use a parking space during the night. So instead of building 2 parking spaces for the residential user and the office user, it says, I can build 1 parking space that the resident can use during the day, or I'm sorry, the office user can use during the day, and the resident can use during the night. There are myriad cross sections and interactions of daytime versus nighttime, weekday versus weekend parking happening on a complex multi-use site like what is being proposed. Desmond did all the math. They did all the math, and their conclusion, their expert conclusion, was that 555 cars was the minimum amount of parking we can get away with while supporting the businesses as a going concern. The last thing you want is to build things and not have enough parking, and then people don't shop at your grocery store and it closes. That would be bad. So we do have that study. It does exist. We can certainly, it's up to the discretion of the executive team of Concord whether that gets released. And certainly, there could be expert testimony if there was another discussion could be contemplated. But I assure you, Alder, that research has been done. And I will also add that the 555 parks that's contemplated by the plan is materially less than what zoning will stipulate. So presuming we get through the Board of Alders, we still have to go through zoning, and we will be requesting from zoning relief from the zoning requirement, because the zoning requirement is substantially in excess of the 555 cars we are proposing to provide.
Thank you.
Are you all set with that, Alder Winter?
I believe I'm at my question limit, right, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was going to yield to let someone else ask a question and perhaps come back to you because it is in your ward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
out of respect. So, but if someone else on the committee side or on just the general orders have a question, I want them to, I want them to move forward with a question. Move forward with a question. Seeing no hands raised. Seeing no hands raised. Steve Winter, you gonna ask another question? Steve Winter, you gonna ask another question?
Thank you, Chair Wingate. I do think given Concat's deep ties in the community and that they could play a meaningful role in the outreach, the community outreach around the hiring. And I was just for both the ongoing jobs, but also around construction outreach, the Dixwell New Hallville neighborhood. And I wanted to know if anyone on the team could speak to whether that's contemplated currently or if that's something we could work together on. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll speak. I believe, Steve, and thank you for the question, that there should be a citywide call led by the city for the construction jobs. Now, we can partner on the outreach specific to Dixwell community for the jobs that will be going forward that Paul laid out, I believe, the number. We can definitely partner with community groups and community members to ensure that folks from Dixwell community have a clear shot at receiving employment because of this development. But I believe the construction jobs should be the responsibility of the city, quite frankly, and maybe a clear focus, if you will, although it's citywide, a clear focus on the Dixwell community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So before, Steve is like jumping through the screen right now for another question, but we're gonna hold off because we're gonna be here for a little while, Steve. We got a lot of people in the queue that want to speak on this particular project. So out of respect to people's time as well, I'm gonna, we want to ask if anyone else, any of the other orders would like to speak to this project or have any questions about the project. So at this time, we're gonna go to the public and have the public have some testimony on this. And believe me, Alton Winters, I will not forget you because I don't want you to jump on the screen, because if you come through the screen, we're gonna have a real issue, right? In a whole nother way, right? So relax, we're gonna get back to you and get this right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just got a new webcam. I think that's part of it.
Yes, man, that's what it is. What's his name? Oh, okay. Mr. Alex Twining, please state your name and address for the record, please. And take yourself off mute and you will be able to speak.
Alex Twining at 13 Riverbank Lane, Old Lyme, Connecticut. And I just want to say that this is a transformational project. It will change this important artery of New Haven. And it's just an outstanding mixed use, remarkable for anywhere in the United States. And I think if we can get this little lift off, it'll be really amazing. And I highly endorse it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, please state your name and address for the record, please. David, I believe you're on mute.
Would that be me?
Yes, sir. David
Yes,
Newton.
hi. David Newton, lifelong resident of New Haven, Connecticut. And I also support this project. I've watched the work of Concat, Concorp over the years, and I just think this would be wonderful for our city and also for the Dixwell community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up is Cleo Nicolamis. If you take yourself off mute, Cleo.
Hi, I'm Cleo Nikolakis, Executive Director at Science Park Development Corporation, the landlord for Concat, and we are fully in support of this project. We think it will bring so much positive benefits to the community, and we look forward to seeing their spread their mission across the neighborhood.
Thank you. Andrea, you could take yourself off mute, state your name and address for the record, please. Andrea Rivers. Last call. Andrea Rivers. We'll come back to her if she comes on. So we're gonna move on. Who is it? Oh, Opal. Opal Harmon. Please state your name and address for the record. Opal Harmon going once. Okay. Miss Opal Harmon. Okay. That's 3 times. So we're gonna move on. Okay. This is the world of Zoom. Oh. I'm looking for Kate Maloney. I'm looking for Kate Maloney. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Hello, Kate. I see that you are logged in. I don't know if you muted it. Kevin Cole. Kevin Cole. Kevin Cole. Gideon Jabresis. Please state your name and address for the record. Gideon Jabresis. Going once, going twice. We're moving on.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I believe that folks are having a hard time unmuting for testimony.
So it could be technical on my
I think
end.
so. I think so.
let me talk to Mr. Lucas and see can we resolve this issue.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes you have to press *6. They might want to, I don't know if that's the case, but it might, I've had that issue and sometimes it's resolved that way.
Okay. For you could try Alder Winter's approach, *6. What I'm being told, the technical difficulties are not on this end. He may have to log out and log back in. And we got all night, so we're willing to let him do that. You know, I mean, someone's shaking their head with total sincerity, like we do not have all night. Karen Walton. Karen DeBowles Walton.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good evening, alders, Mr. Chair, committee members, and all alders present. I'm so happy to be able to give some comments on this plan that Concorp is bringing forward. And I did want to say, I'm sorry, Karen DuBois Walton. I'm the president of Elm City Communities, 360 Orange Street, home address 58 East Pearl Street, New Haven. And we have been working at Elm City Communities in collaboration with Concorp. And as somebody who does a significant amount of affordable housing and mixed income development in the city, I wanted to lend my voice to, on behalf of this team, in support of this team, for the attention that they have played toward developing this in a way that is inclusive of a range of income types. We know that the need for affordable housing is very significant in this city. We know that the need for high quality affordable housing is very significant in the city. And to have a project move forward that is going to incorporate high quality affordable housing, I think it's something that deserves your very serious attention. So I appreciate the attention that this committee is giving to this project. In addition, the potential for economic development, economic growth, job creation is tremendous associated with this. And on the questions of jobs, I want to also add that on all of the projects that Elm City Communities and the Glendower Group developed, we have always far exceeded our goals around minority construction, minority contracting, women-owned contracting, and what we call Section 3 contracting. And we too serve as a resource on this project around ensuring that on the construction and build, that all the goals are met around ensuring that New Haveners are working on these jobs, are sharing the wealth that's created by this project, and certainly would stand ready to support in other hiring efforts. So I lend my support and thank you for the opportunity to speak on this project.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for Constable Baker Motley. I will be reaching out to you for all the wonderful work you do over there. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.
Martha Frenall. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Jay Brockman. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Jay Brockman.
Hello, Jay Brotman, live at 160 Laurel Road in New Haven, and my residence is, my office is at 84 Orange Street, New Haven. I'm an architect. I have followed Concat since their beginning. I have been involved in many of their projects. They are a wonderful organization. They've been wonderful to the city. Every time I've heard them step up to the plate and see them set their goals, I've seen them make their goals and exceed them. So I can only believe that they will do the same on this project. And I'm very glad to have this happening in our city and for the people of our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Michael Fletcher. Michael Fletcher, please state your name and address for the record, please. Okay, we're going to move on. Crystal Goodings. Yes. Crystal Goodings, you're in. You could turn your video on. Your mute is off. Crystal, can you hear me? Mark Misbit. Mark Misbit. Please state your name and address for the record, please. All right, going once, going twice. We're moving on. Garrett Sheeham. We can see you. I believe I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, Alders, Garrett Sheehan, 34 Montclair Drive, West Hartford, Connecticut. I'm President and CEO of the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce. First, just want to offer my support from the Chamber, all of our business members. We're extremely excited about this project. We believe in it. The other couple thoughts I can just give is I see a lot of development projects come through, and I think as you heard tonight, the thoroughness of what has been put into this project, the amount of thought, the amount of community input, is really incredible. This is going to be an amazing project for New Haven. And also I can speak, I know New Haven Works has come up a couple of times tonight. I'm the treasurer of New Haven Works. And while I cannot speak on behalf of the organization, I can pledge that we will work with Concat, Concorp to make sure that those jobs come from here in New Haven. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we're gonna go back to Kate Maloney. From my understanding, she's all set.
Hi there. Sorry, I don't know what was going on with my audio. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So my name is Caitlin Maloney. I'm a community organizer. I work with the People's Collaborative for a member, and I also work at New Haven Community Organization. And you know, I just first off wanted to say thank you so much to Concat and the team for giving an update. I think, you know, with the pandemic, it's been really hard to reach out to the community. So any kind of update that you can give, you know, residents in Dixwell, you know, and just keeping people informed is really appreciated. And I'll just give the address to where I work, which is 205 Orange Street at New Haven Legal Aid. And so just to give you a little background, just super quick, I know I only have like a limited amount of time, but People's Collaborative for Dixwell.
No, you got to give your home address.
Oh, my home address. I actually right now live in West Haven at 98 Fairview Ave, West Haven, but I do work with residents of Dixwell and work, at New Haven Legal Aid, as I mentioned, at 205 Orange Street.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So basically PCD, the People's Collaborative for Dixwell, is a group of residents informing and affecting change in the development, revitalization, and planning of Dixwell, trying to keep Dixwell's legacy alive and building a more just and equitable future. And I just wanted to also mention just briefly that there are numerous members of the collaborative who were trying to get on the call today. I myself tried to, use the original link that was shared on the agenda, and it was completely different from what was sent. I actually got an email from Al Lucas at 6:30, so after the meeting had already started. So I wonder if many community members couldn't actually, didn't have the correct login information. So just to put that on record, that it has been very hard for folks to participate in this process tonight. So while PCD is very supportive of projects that preserve, affordability, access, and history of Dixwell neighborhood, and we do think Concat as an organization is a very positive addition to the community, we also hope that that concerns about affordability, design, and home ownership opportunities will be considered as this new development moves forward. So a few of the concerns that we've heard from residents in the community and that PCD is also concerned with is, again, the affordability of the apartments. From our understanding, the plans state that there must be a minimum of 150 total units, but only 20% of those units will be affordable to folks living below the area median income. And this is the AMI, and this AMI is actually based on New Haven County numbers. So that includes, Guilford, Milford, and communities that have a higher income, which basically increases that median income level to, unaffordable levels compared to the community where this project is going to be built in Dixwell. So, we basically are asking Concat and Concorp to use the AMI of the Dixwell community, the Dixwell neighborhood when determining these levels, and that they just increase the total number of affordable units to a much more significant percentage. We're just really worried about displacement. We want to make sure that current residents have access to, this project, and including the apartments as well. So the second thing that we've heard is a common theme is the design of the project, particularly when it comes to the height of the buildings. It's kind of unclear what the final plans are, but I also want to thank Eric Clemens, because he did meet with a bunch of members pretty recently, and he did share like a lot of the information, and we're very appreciative of that, like transparency, and always appreciate speaking with him. So that was really appreciated. Sorry to keep repeating myself. In any case, so the design of the project is something that community is still concerned with, because one of the things that Eric did share with us is that the buildings right now are slated to, the highest buildings are slated to be around 6 to 7 stories. And this just really, residents feel that it wouldn't really fit into the current design of the neighborhood, and it may block, sunlight, and just really change like the way that the neighborhood feels right now. So they're hoping to stay, PCD is really hoping to push at like 4 stories or lower. So that was another concern, the design. Another concern we've been discussing. Sorry, am I going on?
Yeah,
Can I just fit in like 2 more things? I'll go quick.
Yeah, we have a 3-minute limit.
Okay, I just have like 2 more things.
On time. So please, I just want you to be mindful of that, because you missed the beginning of the meeting. So I'm just sharing with you what I said at the beginning of the meeting, that everyone has 3 minutes in reference to their testimony in questioning. Okay.
I appreciate that. I missed the beginning because I didn't have the correct link. So I'm just going to.
So in total transparency, what happened was the meeting was on the 20th, but due to, scheduling issues, it became 21. So people was jumping on, but couldn't they didn't know it was 21. Because it was,
Actually, no, because we reached out to Steve Alder Steve Winter, who
Mhm.
did give us the updated, agenda, and the agenda had the exact same links as the first agenda did. So I don't know if that was like a mistake on the part of the committee, not including like an updated link, but we did use exactly what was on the updated agenda.
okay.
So just lastly, I just wanted to mention there's a food pantry that's located in the substation that folks are worried about, and hope that as this project moves forward, that that is located to somewhere within the project, because it serves a lot of families in need right now, especially during a pandemic. And then lastly, we just really want to push that home ownership opportunities. I know it's part of phase 2, and that's something that Paul Mcraven mentioned. And thank you for, sharing that information. But home ownership is really important to build generational wealth. And that is something that's, a huge priority of PCD. So sorry about going over there. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you so much. I don't know if anyone from the Concat team want to respond to that particular one, or we'll move on to the next person. No need. We'll do it after. No need. Crystal Good. Crystal Gooding. Having technical difficulties, going once, going twice. Let's move on. Next up is Rodney Williams. Please state your name and address for the record.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, I can. And also,
yes, my name is Rodney Williams. I live 222 Division Street, New Haven, Connecticut. I've been in the New Haven area. First of all, let me just say this. Let me say thank you for you guys having this meeting, to the chair, Comcourt. I appreciate what you guys trying to do in this community. Mr. Clemens, my condolences to you, sir. My heart goes out to you. And prayers to you, sir. I would like to say this. You got a lot of people coming up here. You ask them where they live at. They don't live in this community. When you talk about PCD, the lady talking about she from West Haven, and she representing residents. The residents, if they have a problem, they can come up here and they can voice their opinion. They don't need to hide behind somebody. I get tired of the people keep coming to our community, want to dictate what we should build. But meanwhile, all around the city, projects are being built with no parking. 6, 7 stories high, right downtown. They're not talking about the height there because they're beautifying their community. Economic opportunity is coming to our community. Please, the team that they just put together, they look like us. Very rarely have we ever seen any team look like the team we got now. It's something, be fair, firm, and consistent. Treat this team just like you treat all the other developers. The rest of the developers, they come through, they give what they give. They don't talk about what they talk about now. Let them do what they need to do. The only problem that I see is that, and I understand Eric Clemens want to put the responsibility on the city of New Haven about the contractors. This project is too big to have one contractor meeting on getting jobs. It's too big. And the city track record, no disrespect to Mike Piscatelli, we work a lot. I just feel like we need to figure out how we land this plane with the contractors on this time, because there's been several planes landed on city projects over the last couple of years, and when it landed, we wasn't on it. So I know, Eric, I feel like you're trying to do the right thing because it's an LDA agreement. But please, before you just give the city the pilot, can you be the pilot and let them be the co-pilot? And that's all I like to say. Please do that. Make sure we on the plane too. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Rodney. Carrie Greyhawk. David Schaefer. David Schaefer, speech. Your name and address for the record, please. You have yourself on mute. We have Tiffany Thatcher.
Hi, yes, Thatcher Tiffany, actually.
Thatcher Tiffany.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No problem. Good evening. My name is Thatcher Tiffany. I'm with Beacon Communities. I'm the Director of Development there. I live in Brooklyn, 557th Street, Brooklyn, New York. But I spend a lot of time in New Haven working on various things there. Beacon Communities is the owner of Monterey Place, which is across Dixwell from the plaza. So we have, a lot of interest in this community, and, we've been, hoping for new plans at Dixwell for a long time. So it's really exciting to see this ambitious project taking shape with such an amazing team. So, Beacon is in support of this. Incidentally, we are also working on, part of Monterey Place includes a property on Bristol Street, known as Edith Johnson. We're working on a rehabilitation of that. So I've been spending more time there and with the residents there. And I think, improving access to amenities and jobs for the folks in that community would be fantastic. If there's anything we can do to help as neighbors, please let us know. The city staff know where to find me and others on our team. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Shout out to Brooklyn, home of Michael Jordan and Notorious B.I.G. Stop playing. Okay. So that is the end of the people who signed up to speak. At this point, anyone who would like to speak will need to raise their hands on this particular item. And that would be you, Steve.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chair Wingate, Vice Chair Douglas, members of the Community Development Team for hearing this item tonight. This is a transformational project, as one of the other callers said, and it promises to reimagine a central community gathering space and commercial area in Dixwell that's been neglected for many years. We've heard about the range of vital community benefits that will come with it. The team represents some of our community's most prominent civic leaders, and they're doing really important work of assembling the many pieces of the plaza, the constituent properties that make up the plaza. And the city holds two of those important pieces. I do think that the city and Concord should move forward and agree to terms that allow for the sale of the library and the substation, while also doing everything in our collective power to address community needs around hiring, as well as community involvement, ongoing involvement in the design process, the scale of the project, and its commitment to affordable housing. We talked about how hiring partnership a little bit could work this meeting. I think we should make sure that there's additional detail in the agreement about the various roles of the city and Concord in terms of outreach, training, certification, testing for both laborers and contractors. It's great to hear that the Housing Authority and New Haven Works stand ready to assist with that as well. It would also be helpful to spell out as much as possible ongoing employment in new commercial spaces like the grocery store,
on design, this project is of such a significant size that I think the community deserves a role in providing feedback as the design continues to evolve. I appreciate all the effort that Concorp has done so far to engage the community. The agreement should continue to provide community input at multiple points as the design is developed. It would be best if options could be presented to the community in charrettes as a way to solicit feedback. Currently, the review process in the agreement has room for feedback from city officials. It would be helpful to also have a role for community input that the city officials can receive and then work together with the development team during the review process. Regarding the scale of the project, I would note that some residents have expressed concern about the height of the project. And I personally don't think that this should block the development in a material way, but I would ask that the city and the development team respect these concerns and fulfill the minimum developer improvements in the agreement with a structure that keeps as low a profile as possible and is as much as possible in keeping with the form of the surrounding neighborhood. Just a couple more things. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I do share some of my constituents' desire for additional affordable housing. I also understand that the developer, this may be challenging for the development team, given that they must also support the childcare center, grocery store, banquet hall, and other community developments. I understand that the developer intends to submit a LISTA application for tax abatement. And I ask that the city and the developer make their best effort to see if there are any ways to increase the number of affordable units through this process. I'm glad to hear that the development team is willing to include a minimum amount of affordability for the townhouses in the development agreement. We talked a little bit about parking. The only other question I had was around the new road that's proposed on the plans and whether that would be a public right-of-way. And currently, a lot of folks use the backside of the Dixville Plaza parking lot to get from Charles to Webster and Dixville Avenue. So it would be helpful to have a public right-of-way, and perhaps that's something we can work on as the project proceeds through the rest of the city approval process and site plan review. And maybe that could present an opening for some additional parking. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and everyone on the committee for hearing this really exciting item tonight.
Thank you. So who? Please. Okay. Okay. All right.
I don't see her anymore.
Okay. So is there any more from the public that like to speak on this item? Is there anyone else from the who? Okay, there's Olivia Martin from the public that would like to speak. Olivia Martin going once. Oh, okay. We have some technical difficulties. Olivia Martin.
All right, okay. Marston. Olivia.
She's okay. I think we lost her. Okay, so
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. At this particular time, I don't see any more hands raised. I don't see any more from the public would like to speak on this item. So at this particular time, I want to take a motion going once, going twice. There's no more. At this present time, I'm going to shut down the public portion. Okay, I just got stopped from shutting the public portion down.
Mr. Chair, I'd like.
Hold on. One second, Vice Chair. Carrie Ellington would like to speak on this item. Okay.
Everyone, sorry it took me a little second to log on. I'll be really brief. I just want to.
Mr. Chair.
Am I good to speak?
Absolutely. No, you can speak. I think Frank having some technical, although Douglas having some technical difficulties at this time. Please speak.
I just want to echo the strong need for affordability in the project. I've been doing outreach work as of late to tenants facing eviction, even with our current statewide eviction moratorium. Much of the houses that I go to are families, are Black and brown women with families who are facing displacement due to loss of income due to COVID. And right now, what I've been seeing and what I've been learning is that we are as much as we're in a pandemic, a health pandemic, we're in an eviction pandemic. And it's layered, I think, the nuanced issues in our community when it comes to the need for affordable housing, because we are facing a crisis of lost income and economic impact from this pandemic that will be hard for working class communities to really recover from. So I think I know that there's a strong need for affordable housing. I know that this project is seeking to have some level of affordability, but I really want to just echo and testify to the need for a deeper percentage of affordability, and that the average AMI for people living in that neighborhood is $35,000. It's for a family of four, not $80,000. And so I want to echo just a strong a pitch to say that maybe that AMI can be renegotiated to suit something that's in alignment with the income of that community, and not necessarily taking into account like what families make in Woodbridge, which is what our current AMI does in towns like that surround it. And I just echo a lot of what Steve said. There's different alternatives that possibly the developers in this project could seek to create more affordability. And I think it's important that the city consider this before selling the city properties, because, again, this is the need, I believe, for working class communities and for communities like that, that are situated right in Dixwell. So I just want to echo, I don't want to be redundant, that, you all as committee members consider that we're in an eviction pandemic. Consider that the AMI, that neighborhood is for a family of four is not 80,000, but it's 35,000. And if the project seeks to have 20% affordability, and 10% of that affordability be at a rate that we know is not affordable for those in our community, then what's the point of it?
Thank you.
So I just want to echo that. Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record before you go. So
I'm Carrie Ellington, and I'm at 1375 Chapel Street.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we have two on the phone. Miss Crystal Gooding is going to try the phone. So, Miss Crystal Gooding, if you can hear my voice.
Hello?
Yes, you have the floor. Please state
name
your name
and thank you.
address for the record.
Okay, this is Crystal Gooding. My address is 26 Woodland Street in New Haven.
Thank you.
I apologize. I was having some issues. I kept getting knocked off of the web, but I just wanted to state and just kind of follow up to what Rodney was saying. I caught bits and pieces of his testimony, and I too, I grew up in Dixville. I've lived here over 50 years, so I know what the plaza once was. And I would like to address the number of parking spaces that Concorp is seeking. It seems a little excessive for that area. And I just wanted to know, first of all, if any kind of studies have been done to determine what the environmental impact would be with all of the cars in that area. And then also, secondly, to ask if a traffic study has been performed, because, again, Dixville is a very busy thoroughfare. And so to add that quantity of cars to that area, I think that now we're talking about serious congestion. So I was just wondering if any of those studies have been done, or are they planning to do them?
Okay. So I'm going to ask someone from Concat to respond to that. We apologize for the technical difficulties if it was on our end tonight. So I don't know if somebody want to respond to her about that. We did hear earlier about a study that was performed in reference to why they are asking for such a large amount of parking spaces. So I don't know if somebody want to jump in or just move forward.
Yes, Chair, Eve Joseph, 555 Long Wharf Drive, New Haven, Connecticut. Yes, I won't repeat the testimony from earlier, which kind of justified the number of cars. I'll speak just to the environmental and the traffic concern. We've had this conversation before, and we've defended this issue before the Board of Aldermen years ago on another large parking structure. So we're very sensitive and aware of the issue of cars and potential for pollution. So we will be monitoring that closely. We have not completed that study at this time. But in prior experience, we have been able to determine that there are ways to kind of mitigate those impacts for the community. In terms of traffic specifically, there's a lot more work to do on this project from a design standpoint beyond the conversation we're having today, and that will continue with the Board of Alders. Specifically, there is a site plan approval process and a zoning process. And both of those conversations will have input and influence over the parking question. So to the person on the phone, I forgot your name, I apologize. We certainly will be doing very detailed and in-depth traffic studies to quantify, measure, and assess the impact to traffic and congestion on Dixwell, Webster, as well as Charles Street. Your question is very appropriate, and I guess the point is there will be many more forums beyond today where that question will be engaged in great detail.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Who? The next we have another phone call, and that is Willie Chambers. Who? Lily Chambers. I don't see any names here. Lily, can you hear me? Lily Chambers, can you hear me? Lily? Ms. Chambers?
Mr. Chair, I think Pat Solomon is currently unmuted. Maybe she could testify while we try to get through to Lily.
Okay, let me get this. There's a team behind this, Steve. You got it. Pat Solomon?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
434 Dixville Avenue,
Thank you.
New Haven, Connecticut. Tell them 1 minute. Hold on 1 second, please. I'm juggling some. Tell them 1 minute. Okay. Good evening to all that are attending. I'm very frustrated because it's been a difficult journey trying to get in on this meeting. I am in support of this project, but we do, as I am a member of the Dixville Collaborative. I'm also a City of New Haven employee, and the comments I make are my personal opinion and not those representing the city. One of my main concerns is around the employment. I did get a chance to read the development, the LDA agreement, and although I have 2 minutes and I have a prior family commitment, as far as the employment is concerned, I think that there should be another way to do that. Having been the contract analyst for the City of New Haven doing construction agreements, I don't believe that we need to do the total number of hours in a project, because what contractors have done in the past has been to bill that 25% of hours with labor and leave out the apprentice and those that can actually be a part of the labor force, whether it's electrician, painter. So we need to take another look at the language that's in that part of the LDA. I have to go now, but that's the one main thing that I want to say. I appreciate Eric and all that they do, but I think there needs to be some more engagement with the community. There's been design changes, and yes, we have a pandemic. Howsoever, we do walk and talk to the community, and the community needs to be aware of design changes that we have not, we were just recently made aware of. I have concerns about the sale of the police substation, because there's a lot of community giving that goes out of the police substation. There is no plan in place to give us a site. There's concerns because that was probably built by grant money doing the community-based policing under Pasteur. And a room in the Q house, if you're thinking about doing that, it's going to be insufficient. At Thanksgiving, we managed to give away 2,000 turkeys and meals for families. We can't do that out of a building. We need the space. We were able to set up and everything else for those 2,000 families to get food. They get clothing. We do a lot of things at the police substation because that's what it was based on. And at this point, I'm going to end my conversation.
Thank you for your testimony, and thank you for the hard work that you do in the community. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It looked like we have President Pro Temp have our hands raised, if I'm correct. Is your hand raised?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, everyone. I'm here. I'm in support, as everyone knows. I am, fully in support of this program going forward. I'm getting this program going forward. This project. This project. I don't know why it's doing that, but what I wanted to say is, I'm pretty sure you guys discussed my issues about the substation coming over to the Q house, but I'm sure you all figured that out. I did want to speak to the last person that spoke about the giving that happens out of the substation. Although the police cannot be housed in the Q house. The Q house has a huge pantry. The Q House has a huge teaching kitchen. The Q House has the room to be able to support food pantry activities, right? So that would not, I don't foresee that being an issue. One of the things that I want to say is I have been in Alder since 2012. This conversation has been going on for the last 10 years. This company has finally come to us with all the things that we've asked for in Dixville. Now, are there going to be changes? Yeah, there's going to be changes. But you don't stop a project because there's going to be some smaller changes. The bottom line is this is the time for Dixville. The bottom line is on the right-hand side of Dixville, the Q House side, that's coming up. Now we need to clear up that picture of 1963 across the street. And we have this company that has come to us that has taken the time to look at every piece of data that we've put out there since this conversation started in 2013. And so to hold up a project because more people or people have just now become involved, I don't think that's fair. It's not fair to the community. So as I said, in regards to the giving that happens out of that substation, the Q House can help with that. I know we can help with that. Can we keep the police? No. But in regards to the giving, we can. And we have to move forward because what's going to be next? If we hold up now and then wait another year, what's the next problem? There's always going to be a problem. No project is 100%. But I really feel as though that Concord has really put not just time and effort, but love into this project because they love the Dixville community. And I'm so thankful that they have come forward. And I'm so thankful that they've dealt with our mess, right? Because this is a mess. Like, you know, we've been talking about this and screens and all this and the other, and we're still talking about it. So I want to say to Concord, thank you for stepping up. Thank you for loving Dixville. And together as a team, all of us here as a city, we will come together to make sure that Dixville shines because this is the time of Dixville. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Morrison. Really appreciate your comments.
So
I want to, Mr. Chair, I want to also double down on that thank you. And it's good to see you, Alder Morrison. I really, really appreciate the words because you really, your words really captured the spirit of our work and the spirit of who we are. And I also want to say that a lot of the food distribution that was being done in the substation by the women of the village, especially this incredible woman named Andrea, in large part, we were bringing food to be distributed. And so I think that's really important to add as well. Andrea and I worked together very well, especially during this pandemic. And you know, I don't know if people on the call know, but we turned our restaurant into an ad hoc food distribution center where Andrea and her team and Kim Harris and her team came and got food from us and dispersed it throughout the communities. So I think it's really important to note that as well. So thank you, Alder Morrison. I really appreciate your words.
Okay, thank you. I have Alder Arden Santana.
Hi, Arden Santana, 47 Admiral Street. If I grew up in New Haven, if Alder Morris, pardon me if I'm cutting your name off because it's cut off here, Morris or Morrison or someone else from the city could elaborate more on the Q House's new role in the community with all that Concat is doing with this awesome project. What now is the Q House going to be able to offer? You know, and is there any, you know, conflict with the space that Concat has and what they provide in terms of, the pantry and so on and so forth. Besides the library, what in the housing of the substation, I believe I heard, what is the Q House's role in the community now?
So thank you for your testimony, but tonight's item is all about the Dixville Plaza process. This is not about the Q House tonight. So, we sticking with the testimony Tremaine to this particular item. You and Alder Morrison can have a offline conversation about the Q House. But tonight item is about the development of the Dixville Plaza and just being, cautious and understanding people's time. We want to stick to, Tremaine to the item. So if you have some questions or comments about the particular item, you most definitely welcome to ask your question.
Alder Morris, can I reach out to you? Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for your testimony.
I'll put my number in the chat if I can.
I don't think
There's no chat. There's no chat. It's okay.
I'll find you. I'll find you.
We'll figure it out. Thank you so much. So we have, I'd like to acknowledge Alder Carmen Rodriguez for coming on in. I know she had another meeting tonight, so thank you for zooming back and forth and back. I appreciate you. Okay, so, okay, Willie Chambers, Lily Chambers, can you hear my voice, Lily Chambers? She's calling in. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public portion on tonight.
Yes, Mr.
Close the
President,
public section.
motion that we close this portion of this public hearing.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
The public portion has been closed. Thank you for that. We have to discuss the item that's before us.
I move the item.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Discussion. So,
Mr. Chair,
because I'm the chair, I'm gonna go last. So yous go, and I'm gonna go last. Who wants to go?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Alder.
this is Alder Nicola.
Yes.
I think this item is a great item. It should be moved forward. There will be some difficult decisions to be made, but I think we can all work through this and get this to be moved to the greater of that part of New Haven that's been long underserved. So I'm hoping that my colleagues will support this.
Anyone else from the committee?
Yes, Mr. President. Yes, I also echo what my colleague, Colt Sullivan said. I definitely like the site plan of all of this, everything that's been said, laid out and explained. I would see this project move forward, and thank you all the team that's putting this here together for our city. And I know there is a lot more organizing to do for it, but I really believe that it would be great for the Dixville area, for the whole city of New Haven. So long overdue. Thank you, my colleague, Jeanette Morrison, for what she said. I echo everything as well. So I ask the support of this as well. Thank you so much.
Alder Douglas, Vice Chair Douglas. I can't hear you, Alder Douglas. Alder Cooper. We'll come back to Alder Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo what has been said by my colleagues before me. that I'm in support of moving the project forward. But I also hear from the community, and I'm wondering how this can be improved as this moves forward regarding issues regarding the AMI, the amount of affordable housing units that are a part of both the townhouses and the housing, the towers, the rental towers. In addition, I'm interested in the partnership with New Haven Works. But I too believe that this sounds like a really beautiful accompaniment to the Q House and all of what that could do for the neighborhood and for the city. And so I want to thank everyone from Concat who's been on this evening to present the project, to speak with us, to answer questions, and I look forward to the future of this project. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'm trying to give Alder Douglas a minute to come back on, but you know, yesterday we got a new president of the United States talking about diversity and inclusion and doing things for the, you know, the hurt and wounded people. And, you know, we moved this meeting yesterday so we can get in a festive of trying to move things forward. So I am in total support of this project. I understand that we have some hurdles and different things that we can figure out. I shouldn't even use the word hurdles. We got some glitches that we can work out and figure out. That's why we have a first reading and a second reading, right? But this is what we need right now on Dixville Avenue. This is what we need for the city of New Haven. So I'm also in support of the project. I'm always trying to be mindful. I'm also, you know, mindful of that. So, but as we move forward, you know, I'm also, you know, mindful of that. So, continue on talking. Comcats can continue on talking to Alder Steve Winter. But this is what we need. Continue on talking. I agree with Alder Jeanette Morrison. They are doing this from a place of love. I really believe that. Alder Jeanette Morrison. They are doing this from. I really believe that. You know, me being, you know, the chair, I support it. Frank is having so many difficulties. I don't know if we can get to Frank tonight, Alder Douglas tonight. Alder Rodriguez?
I too am in support of this project. I reviewed all the materials and the design. And if we really think about it, how long has Dixville Avenue been this way? And we drive by it, and I will agree with Alder Jeanette Morrison. We drive by and we want to see this beautified. And like you said, last night was a big moment. And so let's make Dixville Avenue be what it needs to be, to beautify, to bring folks not just on Broadway, but all the way down Dixville Avenue, so that when the businesses and hopefully some of the neighbors there can own a business, that they too be part of the change that is long overdue in 2021. And so I look forward to seeing this project join the Q House. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So I want to thank Mr. Highsmith, Paul. I want to thank Joseph. I want to thank, you know, I have a joke with Mr. Eric Clemens. I call him Soul Brother #1, right? So full disclaimer, that's my man right there, right? So I want to put it out there. I think y'all have a wonderful team. Anna, I'm just meeting you. Everyone that's on this Concat team, thank you so much. And also to the LCI director for putting up with us tonight. Thank you so much. The council, thank you so much. Everybody that's on the Zoom. Unfortunately, Alder Frank Douglas can't speak, but I believe that he's in support of this project as well. So, Michael Piscatelli, how you doing?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. General Counsel, thank you so much.
We got to vote.
So we got to vote.
Go down the roll.
So we got to vote. Who all's in favor of moving this project forward? We have to vote, and we got to do a roll call vote. So, Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Alder Jill Marks, Alder Jill Marks,
Yes, yes.
Alder Cupo,
Yes.
Alder Frank Douglas,
All right.
okay, okay, we got a thumbs up. 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 And I vote yes as well. I take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All's in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call. Roll call. Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Alder Jill Marks, Alder
Yes.
Cupo.
Mr. Chair, point of order. I don't believe that Alder Rodriguez was given an opportunity to vote
Alder Rodriguez.
previously on the item.
I am a yes on the vote.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alder
wanna
Cupo.
I'm gonna let you vote again. Do you support the project?
I most definitely do.
Thank you so much.
How about adjourning?
So how about adjourning? How about getting us out of here? You lead us out.
I second that.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded already. Have a good night.
All right, thank you
Good
so
night,
much.
everyone.
Thank you very
Good
much,
night.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Thank you for your confidence.
Thank you, sir.